We've seen a lot of skillful players in the history of football, but no one would dare say they've got more tricks up their sleeve than Ronaldinho. From deceptive free kicks to rubber-like snake moves, these are 7 Ronaldinho skills that shocked the entire world.
Ramos once, here he goes, Ronaldinho! Ronaldinho 3-0!
Ronaldinho qui est passé! Et le Paris Saint-Germain ouvre le score!
Coming in at number 7 is what you can call the Samba dance strike, which he pulled off against Chelsea's dumbfounded defenders in the 2004-2005 UEFA Champions League round of 16. This moment of brilliance came after a poor defensive header landed right at Iniesta's feet, and knowing what the Spanish midfielder can do, he's the last person you would want to have possession of the ball in such a dangerous area. But it wasn't Iniesta that stunned the Stamford Bridge faithful that day, as he unselfishly passed the ball to Ronaldinho to work his magic. And that's exactly what he did. Dinho was right on the edge of Chelsea's 18-yard box, and the Blues gathered around quickly like members of a choir to kill off any hopes the Brazilian had of scoring. But it's Ronaldinho we're talking about, and you can bet he was always gonna find a way. While standing in a fixed position, Ronaldinho did the shoulder shimmy and several leg twists that looked more like a dance move than a scoring technique. And to everyone's greatest surprise, Dinho's leg twist had thrown Ricardo Carvalho off balance, which created the tiniest bit of space in between the cluster of Chelsea defenders. Well, that little space was more than enough for Ronaldinho to slot the ball past the Chelsea wall, and a rooted Peter Cech couldn't believe what he had just witnessed. In all of football history, there has never been a goal like that. You can take the rest of the day to search for one if you please. While you're at it, let's take a look at another one of Ronaldinho's skills that was so good it helped to win the 2003 Liga 1 goal of the season. He produced this moment of trickery against Guingamp, where he played a beautiful 1-2 with a teammate after getting hold of the ball from the halfway line. But what's special about a 1-2, you ask? Well, nothing. It's what he did next that dropped everyone's jaws to the ground. After receiving the return, Ronaldinho lifted the ball while simultaneously leaping over a sliding defender in one of the swiftest moves you'll ever see in football. But it didn't stop there, as he produced a lightning-fast step over to discharge the Guingamp defender before lifting the ball over the keeper to score an amazing goal. Now, this moment isn't just made up of one skill, but 3. Ronaldinho showed that he could simultaneously perform 2 tricks in one swift move by lifting the ball and himself over a rushing defender, and showed that his step over had the ability to leave a defender dizzy. He also showed that even after just displaying some mesmerizing skills, he could keep his composure to execute the final and most important skill, which was to lob the ball over the keeper with the softest of touches to get the goal. Now, conceding a goal while playing against your fiercest rivals can be hard to watch, but for Real Madrid, not if that rival is Ronaldinho. In fact, the skill Ronaldinho displayed before scoring the goal was so good that the Madrid fans gave him a standing ovation. It was the 2005-2006 La Liga season, and the Brazilian legend was in devastating form for Barcelona. That was the kind of form Barca needed for such a big game, and you can trust Ronaldinho to produce the big moments. It all started when Dinho picked up the ball from his own half, then executed a deft chop, which helped him dribble past Sergio Ramos like he was a rookie defender. But that wasn't all, as he still had a long way to go before he could get a sniff of the Madrid goal. He advanced further, then dropped his shoulder to cut inside, and this was a move that left another Madrid defender, Ivan Elguera, frozen stiff. Now, with the sight of the goal, Ronaldinho adjusted his body so he could bend the ball into the far corner, but he immediately changed his mind to fire home down into the near post. His twists and turns left Casillas flat-footed as he watched the ball roll into the back of his net. The crowd went wild, and it was amazing to see even the Madrid fans applaud Ronaldinho's solo goal too. Heck, that solo goal had people subscribing to our channel. We're going global, buddy, and I know you just want to click the subscribe button too. But hey, if you thought all Ronaldinho's skills were limited to dribbles and deft finishes, then you probably never witnessed his long-range shooting abilities. He showed exactly what he could do from distance during Barca's game against Sevilla in the 2003-2004 La Liga season. What made this goal even more special was the fact that it was the first he ever scored for Barcelona. As usual, he gets a hold of the ball about halfway into the pitch, then proceeds to cut inside behind a Sevilla defender. But one dribble is hardly enough for someone who has too many in his legs, so he decided to dribble past another Sevilla defender before unleashing a thunderous strike from over 30 yards out. His wicked shot smacked the top of the bar, then bounced beyond the goal line into the net to become one of the most perfectly executed long-range strikes ever. And as you'd expect, the entire Camp Nou went wild with celebrations. But it wasn't just the fans who were ecstatic, because Barca's coach at the time, Frank Rijkaard, was also lost in disbelief at what he had seen. Little did he know, but the camera caught him walking back to his technical area with both his hands on his head like someone who had just seen a ghost. In all fairness to the Dutch coach, there aren't too many other ways to react after seeing such a perfectly executed strike. Speaking of well-executed strikes, the bicycle kick is one of the hardest goal-scoring skills to pull off. In fact, it's a skill most of the world's best strikers would never attempt, which is why it's always a pleasure seeing one. This brings us to number 3 on our list, and this bicycle kick by Ronaldinho was special for more than one reason. Barca were up against Villarreal in the 2006-2007 season, and Ronaldinho showed us just how well he had mastered the art of body movement and control. This time, it's Javi who gets hold of the ball, then drops a delightful chipped cross toward Ronaldinho's path. The Brazilian received it beautifully with his chest, and even though the ball seemed to be moving away from the goal when it flipped over his shoulder, Ronaldinho knew exactly what he was doing. Ronaldinho contorted his body in midair like a python with wings, just so he could position himself properly beneath the floating ball. And in one swift turn, he pulled the trigger to execute one of the best bicycle kicks in the modern era, and probably of all time. The goal was oozing with pure skill and talent. Everything about it was world class. The pass, the control, the body movement, and of course, the unbelievable finish. Still on the matter of world-class finishes, and one particular Ronaldinho skill that baffled an entire stadium and the world was his under-the-wall free kicks. Sure, this skill isn't as complicated as his swift dribbles and spinning bicycle kicks, but it made our list just because of its sheer brilliance. I mean, free kicks are traditionally played over the wall, right? So who in his right mind would ever think of playing them under? Who else but Ronaldinho, who figured that since players on the wall were always jumping to try and stop the free kick taker from scoring, then it means there's always space at the bottom for the ball to roll through. Brilliant! Ronaldinho scored many of these under-the-wall free kicks, but his very first was the one that gave defenders around the world something to worry about. His first was against Werder Bremen in the 2006-2007 Champions League, where he fooled the jumping Bremen wall by rolling the ball under their feet and placing it past the keeper. This skill should have easily been number 1 on our list because of the impact it's had in modern football. Haven't you noticed that players now lay on the floor behind the wall to stop under-the-wall shots from going in? As funny as it is to see players lay down on the grass like they're posing for pictures, the practice remains a necessity if they're to defend against a skill that Ronaldinho himself invented. Finally, we're at number 1, and I'm sure you've been wondering if I was ever going to talk about Ronaldinho's snake. And no, it's not a pet, it's a crazy dribbling skill he does with his right leg. There have been many names for this skill over the past years. Some have called it the snake bite, while others call it the snake move. It's also known as the flip-flap or the elastico, and it involves one swift move where Ronaldinho uses the outside of his right foot to push the ball away from his body, then flips the ball back with the inside of the same foot. Believe me when I say that this skill has sent a lot of markers the wrong way and has led to many Ronaldinho goals. But it wasn't all about sending markers the wrong way, cause one time my boy Ronaldo made a terrible mistake that literally sent him the wrong way to prison. Man, he nearly died. You gotta click this video, buddy.